Welcome, jewels of inestimable value. The most dangerous people are not those who scream and shout, but the ones who sit back quietly and observe everything. Unknown. In a world filled with loud, self-proclaimed alpha males flexing their egos, Sigma women move silently, unnoticed by those too distracted by their own bravado. They are not interested in superficial displays of power or hollow confidence. They observe, assess, and swiftly lose interest in the men who think that arrogance is attractive. Jerks, those loud, immature, and emotionally stunted creatures, are the very antithesis of everything a Sigma woman values. She doesn't just dislike them, she sees through them, understanding their weaknesses better than they ever could. And when faced with real strength, these men inevitably crumble. What is it about jerks that repels Sigma women so powerfully? The answers lie deeper than you think. Number 1. Jerks don't handle strong women well. Jerks can't handle strong women because they've built their identities around control and dominance. They expect women to fall in line, to admire their inflated sense of self, and to play into their power games. But when they come across a Sigma woman, all that crumbles. Sigma women don't need someone to lead them or tell them who they are. They've already done the inner work to know their worth. And that level of self-assurance is a jerk's worst nightmare. A jerk thrives on emotional manipulation, and that only works on someone who's unsure of themselves. The problem for jerks is that Sigma women are anything but uncertain. They are decisive, self-reliant, and not easily swayed by charm or bravado. When a Sigma woman speaks her mind or challenges a jerk's inflated ego, he doesn't know how to react. The usual tactics, flattery, intimidation, or playing the victim, fall flat because she isn't interested in feeding his ego or shrinking herself to make him feel bigger. What jerks really fear is being exposed. A strong woman forces them to confront the reality that they aren't as powerful as they pretend to be. A Sigma woman isn't looking for a power struggle, but her mere presence feels like a threat to a jerk. Instead of adapting, they lash out or retreat because they don't know how to engage with someone who won't bow to their antics. The truth is, jerks only know how to deal with people they can manipulate. When faced with someone who won't bend or break, they're left defenseless. And in the end, a Sigma woman will always walk away, uninterested in shrinking herself just to make a jerk feel like more of a man. Number 2. They don't entertain fixer-upper projects. Sigma women don't entertain fixer-upper projects because they aren't looking for someone to save or mold into a better version of themselves. They've worked hard to become the person they are, and they expect the same level of effort and self-awareness from a partner. Jerks, on the other hand, often come with emotional baggage and unresolved issues, expecting someone else to fix them. Sigma women have no patience for this. A jerk might assume that his flaws can be overlooked because of his charm or good looks. He might even expect a woman to take on the role of caretaker, therapist, or emotional sponge. But Sigma women aren't interested in playing that part. They're not looking for a project. They're looking for someone who's already done the work to become whole on their own. The idea of investing time and energy into someone who can't even take responsibility for their own growth is exhausting to them. Sigma women value emotional maturity and self-sufficiency. They know that no relationship is perfect, but they also know the difference between working through challenges together and trying to drag someone through the emotional mud. A jerk, with all his bravado, often hides deep-seated issues behind his arrogance. He might refuse to acknowledge his own flaws, thinking that a woman will be eager to change him or fix his broken pieces. But a Sigma woman sees through this facade and quickly realizes that there's nothing rewarding about trying to fix someone who doesn't even want to fix themselves. In the end, Sigma women refuse to play the role of a savior. They understand that a true partnership is built on mutual growth and strength, not on one person constantly trying to elevate the other out of their emotional wreckage. Number 3. Jerks confuse confidence with cockiness. Jerks confuse confidence with cockiness because they don't understand the difference between owning your presence and inflating your ego. True confidence comes from a place of security. It's quiet, effortless, and undeniable. Cockiness, on the other hand, is loud, obnoxious, and desperate for validation. Sigma women who move through life with a calm, assured demeanor can spot this difference instantly. The problem with jerks is they mistake over-the-top behavior for strength. They believe that bragging about their achievements, belittling others, or constantly reminding people how great they are will somehow impress women. But what they're really doing is exposing their insecurities. Sigma women are allergic to this kind of behavior because it screams, "Look at me. I need you to believe I'm important." For a Sigma, real confidence is subtle. It doesn't need to announce itself. It's in the way someone carries themselves, the way they interact with others, and their ability to remain unaffected by external opinions. Jerks, however, are addicted to external validation. They need others to constantly reinforce their fragile self-image. Sigma women who are independent thinkers don't fall for this act. They find it tiresome and frankly unattractive. Cockiness is performative, and jerks can't maintain the facade when faced with someone who isn't playing along. The more a Sigma woman remains unimpressed, the more desperate the jerk becomes, spiraling into even more obnoxious displays of arrogance. In the end, jerks reveal themselves for what they truly are: insecure men hiding behind a thin veil of arrogance, and a Sigma woman, with her quiet strength, will always see through it. Number 4. Jerks are boring. Jerks are boring because they are one-dimensional. They rely on the same tired tactics, loud bravado, constant self-promotion, and shallow charm to get attention. At first glance, they might seem exciting or even daring, but once you scratch the surface, there's nothing underneath. Sigma women, who crave depth and substance in their interactions, quickly grow tired of this act. The problem with jerks is that they believe their arrogance is entertaining. They think being cocky or unpredictable makes them interesting. But in reality, it's just repetitive. There's no growth, no real conversation, no challenge. Sigma women thrive on meaningful connections where ideas, emotions, and intellect are exchanged freely. Jerks, on the other hand, are stuck in their own world, endlessly talking about themselves or trying to impress others. It's all surface level, and Sigma women find it dull. What's more frustrating is that jerks often confuse their bravado with complexity. They think that because they can stir up drama or keep people guessing, they're keeping things interesting. But for a Sigma woman, drama is exhausting, not engaging. She's looking for someone with layers, someone who can stimulate her mind and keep her intrigued, not someone who creates chaos just to feel relevant. At the end of the day, a jerk's one-note personality wears thin. Sigma women see right through the facade of excitement and recognize it for what it is: empty noise. Jerks have no emotional depth, no curiosity, and no ability to truly connect, which makes them painfully predictable. A Sigma woman will never stick around for that kind of monotony, and once the jerk's act gets old, she'll move on, leaving him stuck in the shallow pool of his own self-importance. Number 5. Sigma. Women know their value and demand it. Sigma women know their value and refuse to settle for less. They've put in the time to understand who they are, what they want, and what they deserve, and they won't compromise that for anyone, especially not for a jerk. Jerks, however, are used to getting by with superficial charm and manipulation. They expect others to bend to their will, and when they meet a Sigma woman who won't, it throws them off completely. A Sigma woman demands respect because she respects herself. She knows her worth isn't determined by someone else's approval or validation. Jerks, on the other hand, are constantly seeking validation to prop up their fragile egos. They think they can win over a woman by acting like they're the prize, but a Sigma sees right through this. She knows that someone who needs to act superior is usually covering up deep insecurity. She's not impressed by flashiness or false confidence. She's looking for genuine substance. When a Sigma woman doesn't play along with a jerk's game, he often gets frustrated. He's used to women bending to his arrogance, but a Sigma stands firm. She won't tolerate being disrespected or undervalued, and she won't waste her time on someone who doesn't recognize her worth. This refusal to compromise isn't about pride, it's about self-respect. Sigma women have high standards, not because they're impossible to please, but because they know exactly what they bring to the table. Jerks fail with Sigma women because they can't grasp that real relationships are built on mutual respect and equality. A Sigma knows what she deserves, and she won't settle for anything less. If a jerk can't meet her on that level, he's quickly dismissed, left wondering why his usual tricks didn't work. Number 6. Emotional intelligence exposes weakness. Jerks crumble when faced with emotional intelligence because they can't hide behind their usual tricks. Emotional intelligence is about self-awareness, empathy, and being able to navigate complex feelings with maturity. Sigma women who are masters of these qualities see right through the superficial charm and arrogance that jerks rely on. For a jerk, the problem with emotional intelligence is that it exposes their weaknesses, the insecurities they try so hard to mask with bravado. Jerks often operate on a surface level. They manipulate situations and people to maintain control, using their lack of emotional depth as a way to avoid vulnerability. But when they come up against a Sigma woman who is deeply in tune with her own emotions and can read the room effortlessly, they find themselves outmatched. A Sigma woman can call out their emotional immaturity without even trying. She doesn't fall for the games because she sees through them. To a jerk, this is terrifying. They thrive on keeping others emotionally off balance. But with a Sigma woman, they have no control. She can sense when they're deflecting, when they're trying to provoke a reaction, or when they're too emotionally stunted to handle a real conversation. The jerk, who's used to skating by on arrogance and charm, suddenly feels exposed and vulnerable. They're not equipped to deal with someone who can hold her own emotionally without resorting to pettiness or manipulation. This leaves jerks in a panic. They either retreat, unable to deal with the confrontation of their own emotional limitations, or they lash out, trying to regain control by any means necessary. But either way, they lose. Sigma women simply don't have time for someone who can engage on a deeper emotional level, and jerks are left scrambling, unable to keep up with her emotional intelligence. Number 7. Their inner peace disarms toxic behavior. Sigma women carry an inner peace that disarms toxic behavior. They don't need to engage in drama or emotional games to feel validated, and that unnerves jerks who thrive on chaos and control. Jerks often expect their toxic traits, anger, manipulation, or constant need for attention, to get a reaction, but a Sigma woman doesn't give them that satisfaction. Her calm, grounded nature acts as a mirror, reflecting back the jerk's behavior for what it really is: insecurity disguised as bravado. What makes Sigma women so powerful is their ability to maintain emotional stability, even when faced with someone trying to provoke them. A jerk might throw out insults, start unnecessary arguments, or try to dominate the conversation, but it doesn't work on a Sigma. She doesn't let herself get dragged into pointless conflict or drama. Instead, she observes, calmly responds, or simply walks away. This refusal to engage in toxic behavior frustrates jerks because they feed off emotional reactions. Without that fuel, they lose their power. Jerks often spiral when they realize they can't control a Sigma woman through manipulation or emotional games. She's too centered in her own sense of self to be rattled by their antics. Her peace is her strength, and it renders their toxicity ineffective. When a Sigma woman stays calm and collected, it forces the jerk to confront his own dysfunction, and that's something he's not equipped to handle. Ultimately, Sigma women expose toxic behavior for what it is, an attempt to create chaos and maintain control, but they don't play into it. Their inner peace leaves jerks powerless, frustrated, and unable to stir up the emotional drama they thrive on. In the end, the jerk is left confused, while the Sigma woman moves forward, untouched by the chaos he tried to create. Number 8. No patience for petty power games. Sigma women have little patience for petty power games, and this is a game that jerks love to play. Jerks often thrive on manipulation, setting traps, and creating unnecessary drama to assert their dominance. They want to keep others on their toes using tactics like jealousy, intimidation, and competition to create a false sense of power. But a Sigma woman is not interested in these childish antics. She sees them for what they are: immature and exhausting. When a jerk attempts to engage in power struggles, a Sigma woman remains unfazed. She understands that real strength comes from mutual respect and genuine connection, not from trying to one-up someone else. Jerks often mistake her calm demeanor for weakness, believing they can easily manipulate her emotions or provoke a reaction. But the truth is that she won't play along with their games. She's too self-aware and grounded to get caught up in their nonsense. Sigma women value their time and energy, and they refuse to waste either on petty tactics. They're not interested in proving themselves through drama or competition. They'd rather engage in meaningful conversations that foster growth and understanding. When a jerk tries to engage in power plays, she simply steps back, recognizing that such games are beneath her. This lack of engagement often leaves jerks bewildered and frustrated because they can't elicit the emotional response they're used to. In the end, a Sigma woman's ability to rise above petty power games is what sets her apart. She prioritizes authenticity and respect, while jerks cling to childish behaviors. When they realize their usual tactics have no effect, they're left to confront the reality that their need for dominance is not only unattractive but also entirely ineffective with someone who knows her worth. Number 9. Surface-level attraction falls flat. Surface-level attraction falls flat for Sigma women because they crave something deeper than just physical appeal. Jerks often rely on their looks, charm, or flashy personalities to attract attention, believing that these superficial traits are enough to win someone over. They project an image of confidence, thinking that their swagger alone will keep a woman interested. But for a Sigma woman, this approach is empty and unconvincing. Sigma women are drawn to substance and authenticity, not just the flashy exterior. They want to connect on a mental and emotional level, exploring ideas, ambitions, and values. When faced with a jerk whose charm is merely skin deep, they quickly lose interest. Jerks might be able to catch someone's eye with their bravado or good looks, but a Sigma woman sees through the illusion. She recognizes that true attraction goes beyond physicality. It involves genuine connection, shared interests, and emotional resonance. When jerks realize that a Sigma woman is not captivated by their surface-level appeal, they often resort to more desperate tactics, pushing boundaries, being overly aggressive, or attempting to dominate conversations. However, these attempts only reveal their immaturity and lack of depth. Sigma women are not swayed by bravado or superficial compliments. They find true charm in authenticity, intelligence, and a willingness to be vulnerable. As a result, jerks struggle to maintain interest with someone who seeks more than just the surface. Sigma women demand depth, and when they don't find it, they won't hesitate to walk away. They know that genuine attraction is built on respect and understanding, and they simply won't settle for less. This inability to connect on a deeper level leaves jerks feeling frustrated and bewildered, ultimately exposing their inadequacies in a world where substance truly matters. Number 10. Authenticity over machismo. Sigma women value authenticity over machismo because they don't need someone to act tough to feel safe or impressed. Jerks often mistake exaggerated masculinity, being loud, aggressive, or dominant, as a way to gain respect or attraction. But to a Sigma woman, that's not strength. It's insecurity disguised as bravado. She's not interested in someone who's putting on a show to prove how manly they are. What she values is someone who is comfortable in their own skin without needing to perform masculinity as a crutch. The issue with jerks is that their version of masculinity is performative. They believe that being overly assertive or dismissive of others makes them look powerful. But all it really does is show how uncomfortable they are with vulnerability. Sigma women find this exhausting. They appreciate someone who can be real, someone who's not afraid to show both their strengths and weaknesses. The whole macho act is just a mask that jerks hide behind to avoid showing their true selves, and Sigma women are quick to spot this facade. Authenticity, to a Sigma woman, is about being genuine. It's about knowing who you are without needing constant validation from others. Jerks rely on outward displays of power and control to feel significant, but to a Sigma, that only signals a lack of real self-confidence. She doesn't need a man to prove anything. She's looking for someone who can stand beside her as an equal without the smoke and mirrors. Ultimately, the macho act falls flat with Sigma women because it's hollow. She wants real conversations, real emotions, and real connections, not someone constantly trying to outdo everyone in the room. Jerks don't understand this, and their need to prove their masculinity just highlights how far they are from true confidence and authenticity. In a landscape where superficiality often masquerades as charm, Sigma women stand as a beacon of authenticity and strength. Their disdain for jerks isn't merely a preference, it's a reflection of their deep understanding of self-worth and emotional intelligence. They see through the bravado and machismo that jerks rely on, recognizing these traits as hollow and unworthy of their time. Sigma women don't just walk away from toxic behaviors. They elevate the conversation about what real connections should look like. By rejecting petty power games, emotional manipulation, and superficial attraction, they remind us that true relationships are built on respect, depth, and mutual growth. In a world where so many settle for less, Sigma women challenge the status quo, refusing to compromise their standards for anyone. Their presence is a reminder that confidence comes from within, and that genuine connections thrive on authenticity. Ultimately, their ability to recognize and reject jerks speaks to a larger truth about relationships. They require more than just a flashy exterior or a bold personality. They need real substance, emotional maturity, and a willingness to engage on a deeper level. For Sigma women, the bar is set high, and rightly so. They know their value, and they refuse to accept anything less than what they deserve. In doing so, they empower not only themselves but also those around them to seek out meaningful connections, leaving behind the noise of ego-driven interactions and embracing the richness of true companionship. If you enjoyed this deep dive into why Sigma women reject jerks and value authenticity, consider subscribing to the channel. Join our community for more insights on relationships and personal growth. Hit that subscribe button and empower yourself with unique perspectives that celebrate strength and meaningful connections. Thanks for watching, Jules. See you in the next video. Bye for now, and stay blessed.